Right, I was shopping in my local Aldi and I found these venison grill steaks from a company called Highland Game, which suggests they probably come from Scottish venison, and it's also mixed with about 25% pork and some other seasonings, and they're 150 gram patties, so we're feeling pretty hungry. We're going to have 2 of them each, so I'm going to cook those up. In addition to that, I have half a medium sized brown onion which is finely chopped, 2 cloves of garlic finely chopped. I've got about 100 grams of mushrooms. These are chestnut mushrooms, but whichever mushrooms you like. And I've also got a 20 gram pack of mushrooms which I have soaked overnight, which are going to make up the bulk of the sauce. And the type is Xerocomus badius. It's a kind of boletus, but it's not boletus edulis. It's not a porcini mushroom, but it's something very similar. Okay, I've got some nice whole grain mustard, but you could use anything really here. You could use English mustard, Grey Poupon, something like that, French Dijon mustard. I've also got some creme fraiche. I'm going to use a little because we want to make this a nice creamy sauce, mustard and cream mushroom sauce. To that end, to make it up, I've got some beef stock, and what I've done is I made up 300 mils of beef stock, which is just over a US cup size. I've got some flour to make the sauce up with. The only other thing we'll need is a bit of oil for cooking, and I'm just going to get that on right now because that's about ready. So in with the cooking oil, let that get nice and hot, a couple of tablespoons worth, and then we'll go in with the grill steaks. Get a nice strike heat, and I just want to fry those. I want to give them a nice crust. I'll be finishing those off in a warm oven. I'll be serving them with minted new potatoes, baby new potatoes, and some green beans, which came from frozen. So we'll just let those cook, give them about 3 minutes each side, and then we'll transfer them to a hot oven, or sorry, we'll transfer them to a warm oven. We'll make up the sauce from there. Alright, I can see a nice crust forming on the bottom of that one. So we'll give him a flip. Looking good. I must say I'm rather impressed with the way they're holding together. They do look rather nice the way they're holding together there. So it is basically a venison burger with some pork in it. Okay, because these grill steaks contain pork, I've turned down the heat a little bit, and I'm going to let them come up to cooked a little slower, because with pork you don't want to take the risk that it's not cooked all the way through. And to that end, I'll be giving them another flip. Okay, we can give these another flip. Alright, I've given them another turn, and I'll push down on them to see how well done they are. And they're about medium rare at the moment, so I just want to make sure they're cooked all the way through. Alright, I'll give them a little check, temperature check. That's reading 74 internal temperature, 76, that's climbing. So they're ready to come off, and they will transfer to the oven. So I'll take them off now. Take those off, transfer them to the oven, where they'll continue cooking at about just at a keep warm temperature. So they'll continue cooking through, and they'll be lovely, but still juicy. That's the thing. Right, the first thing I want to do is skim off a little bit of that oil. Alright, use my oven glove for this. Give it a tilt and see where we are. And I want to take off a couple of these, because we don't need all that. So just leave enough in to make a sauce up with. And then into that goes first of all my onion. Give that a good stir. And we don't want to throw away all that brown messy stuff in the bottom of there. That's pure flavour. You don't want to throw that away. So get the onions moving around in there. Then in with the wet mushrooms. And they'll rapidly start to soak up any oil that's in there. So if you find it's a little too dry, you can always add a little bit of butter. Or maybe a little bit more oil. But what I find is that if you just keep them moving, they will eventually cook and then start to ship out the excess oil that's inside them. Keep them moving around. Try and separate the flat bits where they're stuck together. That's better. And then keep that moving. And once your mushrooms start to steam, as soon as the liquid in them starts to boil and steam, they will start to ship some of their liquid. And they will become a lot more flexible. At this stage I'm going to add in my garlic. I don't want to add it too early because garlic has very high sugar content. And it has a tendency to burn a bit sometimes. So we get that stirred in. Get it moving around. And you see now the mushrooms are put in, they're really starting to relax now. Okay, I'm going to drain my mushrooms I soaked. The reason I drain them is because sometimes the liquid can be a bit gritty from them, so I do drain them. I'm a big one for preserving flavour, but sometimes they do get a bit gritty. Okay, so we've got them to the stage where it's all softened down now, so I'm going to put in about a tablespoon and a half of flour, and we'll get that moving around. That will serve to thicken, and it will stop everything sizzling for a moment or two. So we want to get the flour moving around with the oil, because as it finds solution with the oil and then eventually finds solution with the liquid we put in there, it won't clump up so bad. Alright, so the next thing in is my beef stock. I'm just going to put in a bit to start with, give it a good old stir, see where we are. And then as you see, it starts to thicken immediately. This isn't your fancy restaurant food at all. This is just good old-fashioned peasanty deliciousness. And people made it up from what they could pick outside the forest cabins and that sort of thing. There we go. Okay, into that now I'm going to put the soaked dried mushrooms. And they're absolutely packed with flavour, those ones. If you've never worked with dried porcini mushrooms or Boletus edulis, or what we call them penny buns in the UK, because they look like a penny bun when they're growing, you should, because they're absolutely gorgeous. They really are gorgeous. So I'm going to use quite a packed teaspoon of whole grain mustard there, which gives a lovely flavour and a little bit of tartness to the sauce. Nice. You can use any mustard you like here, but English mustard, European mustards are probably going to be better than yellow American mustard for this. So any mustard, Zenf, will do. Okay, so that's now coming up to a good old boil. I'm going to turn the heat down so it simmers. And a nice little flourish at the end here for this sauce is to go in with some creme fraiche or sour cream, whatever you've got. So I'm going to put in about the equivalent of a tablespoon of creme fraiche. Get all that stirred in. And if you're going to add things like cream to a sauce, add them at no more than a tablespoon at a time. And the reason you need to do that is because it stops it splitting, and it also helps if the sauce has already got a thickening agent in it like flour or cornstarch, corn flour. So there we are. We've got ourselves a rather attractive, delicious mushroom sauce. So I just want to go in and get a taste test with that. Always taste as you go. Oh, that's really good. Doesn't need a lot, but it does need a bit of salt. So I'm going to hit it with a bit of salt. You hit it with as much as you need, or as little as you need, or none if you doesn't need it. I'm going to hit that with some black pepper because it's me and I love black pepper. Again, use as much as you like. It's your sauce. And really that's it. It's really that simple. So, absolutely gorgeous. Let's get that served up. Hey friends, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you would like to follow my channel, please subscribe. And don't forget to click the bell icon and select all to receive notifications for all my future videos. It would be great to hear from you in the comments, and I'll try to get back to as many of you as possible. You may wish to check out these titles or even help me out with a donation using the links in the description below the video. Thanks for watching.